The very first Hostess product, the ultra-delicious chocolate cupcake, was first sold in 1919. In the past 100 years, the company has been bought and sold numerous times, but the delicious snacks have persisted. Urban legend has said that the company's mainstay, the Twinkie, can last more than 30 years and still be edible due to its laundry list of processed ingredients. The good news is that even if production ceases, our posterity will be able to crack open a delectable, cream-filled sponge cake, turn to their robot servant, and ask, "You tried that?" Here we are. It's the Hostess-themed episode of You Tried Dat. I'm Nick Novak with my pals Chad Hancock.
What's up?
And Nick Geiger.
Hey there.
Guys, you ready to get fat?
I want to know which of us is the hostess with the mostess.
Why would you say a thing like that?
And scene.
And all of our subscribers just deleted the episode.
Just click unsubscribe in unison.
That should be our new goal, is like, how quickly can we get our listeners to stop listening to the episode? A couple episodes ago, it was like halfway through with our shit stories, and now it's like 3 seconds in with bad jokes.
Last
but
time
no,
Geiger was
seriously,
talking about
which one?
Nazis.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Nazis are an important issue.
So I picked out these Hostess products this time through. I have a long history with them. When I was a kid, my parents would get me these Hostess products for breakfast on the weekend. So I grew up thinking that Twinkies, cupcakes, and the like were breakfast items.
Why would they do that? Were they just like, you're too
Damn.
skinny?
Yeah, how were you the thinnest of us when you grew up eating a Hostess for breakfast?
You don't have enough cavities. Here, have Hostess for breakfast.
And there's nothing breakfasty about them, but I can't get past that idea. And we're not going to have these today, but the cupcake, to me, is just about the perfect bite of snack.
Oh, with the cream in the middle and the curly Q on top?
Standard cupcake, right? To me, that's by far the best Hostess product. I've always loved it. Do you guys have you have any history with the Hostess company?
Just that. The only things from Hostess we ever had growing up were those chocolate Hostess cupcakes. And I remember I loved them. And my mom, I think one time got don't they have like a lemon version that's got yellow frosting on top or something like
I think
that?
it's an orange one. It's pretty popular.
Okay. And I remember she's like, "Oh, I got Hostess cupcakes," and got all excited, and she brought up the orange ones. I'm like, "God damn it!" I didn't yell that at my mom, but I was not happy. I don't think I had a Twinkie until college or something. The only thing we ever had was those Hostess cupcakes, but I loved them. I used to get them when I worked at a grocery store. I used to get them on break all the time and eat them in the break room for a snack, which is a pretty gross snack in retrospect, but 2 giant cream-filled cupcakes. But yeah, that was what I did.
How about you, Chad?
I don't have a lot of experience with Hostess products. Mostly just, we never had them growing up, so it's mostly just been, if we're on a road trip, maybe I would get one from a gas station, but I would usually opt for something else, because there's something about them that they just taste so plasticky and fake to me, even those cupcakes you mentioned.
Oh yeah.
And it's not very settled. I don't really like the flavor that much. There's just something about it that just tastes so overly processed. My most positive experience with it is going to let me try that again, minus the voice crack. Going to
Tell us about your adolescence, Chad.
Guys, my balls are just dropping. Going to the state fair and having fried Twinkies, which are just amazing. That's the only way I really want to eat a Twinkie at this point, is if it's deep fried, because the middle just gets all gooey and melty, and it's so good.
Does Hostess make those fruit pies as well?
They make fruit pies. They make the honey bun things. They actually make the donuts, which I'm sure you've had, just little chocolate donuts and little powdered donuts.
Yeah, I've had that. I remember, now that I think too, we also had the fruit pies growing up, and I really liked those as well. The apple, it was a flaky crust with pie, apple filling in the middle or something. Those were good.
Yeah, everything in there, I'm sure, is some of the most processed food you could
possibly. Oh, yeah.
Have you, Novak, paid forward this Hostess breakfast tradition to your own children?
No.
No, because I don't want my children taken away from me by CPS.
Exactly. I mean, how different is it really than a donut?
Not really. I was going to say,
I guess that's a good point. I eat
have
donuts
all the time. Danish. I had a piece of birthday cake for breakfast the other day. It's no different than
Well,
eating
that's too far.
It's no different than eating pastry. I mean, it's the same thing.
I'm looking at some of the list of other things. They make the ho-ho, the ding-dong, mini muffins, coffee cakes. So they're just trying to kill everybody.
How do they? I mean, because I have heard the legend too, like you mentioned, that they'll last like years and years and years. So it's just like a ton of preservatives and all these things that allow that to happen. Like, how is that possible if this is actually food?
That's a good question that I try not to think about because
Is that really true though, or is that just one of those like old wives' tales?
I actually, in doing the intro, looked it up, and I think they did the study, and it was something like, I think it could stay fresh for something like 8 years, like that it would still be edible. But after that, I don't think it's like going to anything you'd put in your apocalyptic bunker.
So now that you say these, on the back of the packages you gave us, Novak, it says "Vote for Obama."
You should have picked an older president than that.
You don't know when we're releasing this. Maybe we're releasing this in 10 years.
So, what is your favorite food that you eat outside of when it's supposed to be eaten? So for me, like I said, I eat these Hostess products for breakfast, which is not a good time for them. But, having breakfast for dinner or pizza for breakfast or something like that. Is there something you really frequently eat outside of when society thinks you should eat it?
For me, breakfast food is the best food. It's the best meal of the day always. So I will have breakfast at any meal. I'll love having like a breakfast burrito for dinner is just great. A burrito with like scrambled eggs and bacon and some potatoes in it and cheese. That's just an excellent dinner. And the other thing I will do is, Geiger mentioned having birthday cake. My wife always wants me to like bake a lot of stuff. Like, oh, I found this recipe, like bake this cake or whatever. And so I'll bake it, and then there's just the two of us. And so now we've got this giant cake, and and she'll want to eat like maybe 2-3 slices of it, and then she'll be like, all right, I'm done. And I'm like, well, guess I'm gonna eat the last 3/4 of this cake by myself. So I'll usually have like a slice then for breakfast that day, and then again for dessert that night for like the next 4 days until I just churn through the cake.
I think in that instance, society's problem is less when you're eating it than how much of it you're eating it. That's in one sitting. I think society's more like, hey, don't eat 3/4 of a cake ever. For
so
me,
the thing you like to eat out of time is a cake for every meal.
Yes, that's right. Just give me cake always. I want my cake.
You just have a bunch of 3/4 cakes laying around that you can have for each meal.
I used to do that back when I worked at. We brought up Lone Star so many times, but back when I worked at Lone Star, and I would work like an all-day shift, and then it's like, oh, you can get for lunch, you can order something off the menu or whatever for half price or whatever it was. I would get a burger most of the time, but then they had a really good chocolate cake there. But it was a huge slice, and it came with like a bunch of ice cream. So I'd be like, well, that's going to be my lunch today. It's just this giant slice of chocolate cake with like 4 scoops of vanilla ice cream on it.
I can't imagine then waiting tables for 4 more hours with 3 scoops of ice cream and chocolate cake in my gut. That would be awful.
Please tell me how terrible it was that I ate cupcakes for breakfast, and tell me stories that are 10 times worse.
Fucking cake monster over here is judging you for your breakfast habit.
Oh, well, let's hear, Geiger. I'm sure you can top that.
Oh no, no. I mean, I'll eat anything, anytime. Really, is a thing. So like, I've definitely had pizza for breakfast before. In fact, I think my mom was famous for eating, like, my dad would always say that he'd come down and she'd be having like cold bratwurst for breakfast from the night before or something.
She was famous for that. I remember hearing about it.
Remember on 60 Minutes when they called her the bratwurst lady? Pretty incredible.
In fact, if you look at the back of this Snowballs package, it says, remember that time Geiger's mom ate cold bratwurst for breakfast?
Right. Yeah. Hostess and I, on such a first-name basis, they just refer to me as Geiger and expect everyone to know what that is. I think the closest thing I probably consistently have, like Chad said, just breakfast anytime, especially if I'm at like a diner or a restaurant that I don't really know if they make good food. Like if you're on the road and you just pull into like a Denny's or something, just get breakfast because it's how hard is it to mess up eggs? So I'll usually get like an omelet or something like that. But yeah, I don't really have any, to me, food is food. I'll eat it whenever. So there has been times at work when I'm really hungry and I didn't eat breakfast, and I'll just eat like whatever I brought for lunch, like in the morning, like leftover pork chops or something. I don't really care. It's all just fuel.
You definitely mentioned leftover pork chops in another podcast.
Well, my wife is obsessed with pork chops. We have pork chops so often that I had to tell her to stop making pork chops for dinner. Yeah,
How often do you order the 3/4 cake?
Sometimes if I'm at a place I don't know real well, I'll either get breakfast or I'll say, "Do you have 3/4 of a cake left over?" And they'll say no, and I'm like, "Can you just cut one piece out?" I'm like, "Oh, you want that piece?" Go, no, ma'am. No, I want all the rest of the cake.
You better dump that piece in the trash and give me the other 3/4.
I order the Pac-Man, which is just a whole cake with one slice taken out.
The Pac-Man.
Well, let's not delay because I think we're gonna be digging into these for a while. So let's start with what I feel like is the least desirable, and that's the Green Snowball. So I tried to pick out some less common Hostess products because it's not going to be any surprise. You know, people know all about the cupcake and the Twinkie. So Snowball is generally a pink color. This one's green. I have a feeling that means nothing.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I don't think I've ever had a Snowball, but I remember seeing them in stores, and I don't remember them being green.
It may have been something with them being released around St. Patrick's Day. Who knows? But these, I'm pretty sure, it doesn't say anything else on them, but it is a green snowball. So let's open these things up. The problem with Snowball is that it's coconut, and as we've discussed here, none of us are, or Chad and I know we're not huge coconut fans.
I'm also surprised in the back they consider this one serving. So both of these cakes.
These things are like really big, and I'm a fat sack, but I don't think I can eat both of these at once.
Wait a minute. You can eat 3/4 of a cake, but you can't eat two. Just cut a quarter of each out, and then you'll be right at home.
Yeah, if these things are too round. They're not enough shaped like Pac-Man. So are these, what am I going to get in the inside? Is this just like a coconut explosion, or is there some chocolate or something in here?
The outside's coconut. The inside, I'm pretty sure, is just cream.
There's coconut and marshmallow covered chocolate cake with creamy filling.
Okay. Yeah, there's that coconut.
I haven't, my first bite, I didn't even get to the cream, so it must be buried in there.
I don't have any cream either.
You got at least, even if you hate the coconut, you got to fight through to the cream.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
I'm a quarter of the way to my full serving.
I mean, you just feel yourself getting fatter when you eat the Hostess products. There's no way around it.
There's also no way to like eat it classily. It's not like someone looks over and sees you eating like a Hostess snowball. And like, look at that fat sack of shit over there.
It just smells like so processed when I just hold it up to my mouth, you know? Not like those all-natural Oreos, which I love, that are plucked straight from the Oreo tree.
Right.
There's nothing. The green is giving me no different taste than standard coconut. So, Geiger, you're plowing through it. I'm just going to ask you to rate it so I can stop you before you go too far.
Anyway, it's... I think it's good. It is definitely like there's definitely a spongy quality to it that I think we're going to get in all of these. Like the cake is just like so like elasticized somehow. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like maybe it's the marshmallow I'm getting at that's real chewy, but something about it feels real spongy. It tastes fine. The coconut, I don't mind coconut. This is like a right amount of coconut for me. Anymore, I wouldn't like it, but it's finely shaved enough that it's not a big deal. Not that I was expecting more cream. I think I'd like a little bit more cream in the center to take away. Because I think the worst part is the spongy cake. I could definitely not eat 2 of these. Well, I should probably not say until I'm done, but I'll go like that. These are fine.
Ridiculous.
You're going to continue to eat them. So.
Ridiculous rating.
What's wrong? I'm sorry, it's not a Reese's cup. So you don't like it?
Son of the bratwurst queen.
I feel better knowing my mom doesn't listen to this.
Show us how it's done, Chad.
Yeah, this thing is garbage, Geiger. The only flavor I actually liked from it was the cream, and there was barely any cream. The coconut is disgusting. The consistency of it is really gross. The cake itself is like not even the worst box cake mix that you get at the grocery store is 10 times better than this cake. This cake is horrid.
You're in for a rough show if this is this bad for you.
It's not good. I was gonna go dislike that, but now that I'm like describing all the things that are bad about it, But, well, do I hate
Do
it? I
it.
guess the cream was
Do
kind of
it.
good.
Give it to it. Give it to it.
All right, I'm going to give it a hate that. Fuck this piece of shit.
All right. You buried that thing. I love Hostess, but the Snowball is not anywhere near the top. It's probably the very last thing I would usually pick from them because I don't like coconut a lot. I could peel the coconut off the top and really enjoy the inside, which I might do later. But for now, I'm going to have to say...
I want to watch you do it. Do it right now. I want to see this happen. This will make great audio podcast for people, is watching you peel it off.
You know what I said about looking classy when you're Hostess? You look even more classy when you're peeling off the outer. Oh, my God. It literally looks like an orange peel that's coming straight off.
It peels off like the skin of a corpse.
The cake underneath is pretty good.
Intact.
So, considering I could still eat 3/4 of it, no, I am going to, because of the coconut is a huge part of it, I'm going to give this a dislike that.
So if it had just been covered with like standard icing, would you guys have liked it? Is it just the coconut that's holding it back or no?
Yeah, and that whole, I mean, you saw me peel off the top, like,
Yeah,
whatever
that's nasty.
that it is attached to. It does, a regular Hostess cupcake, I can bite it, pull it away from my mouth with ease, but this, for some reason, had a little resistance. And I think it was whatever that top layer is that the coconut is attached to.
It literally looked like you were peeling the leather off a baseball. It was really strange.
Yeah, if it was just the chocolate cake with the cream, then I probably would have maybe even gone indifferent or a light dislike, something like that. But that outer layer is just it's an offense to the gods.
Right.
So this is we got below average rating for the Snowball. So the bar has been set pretty low, both on our lives and with the Snowball. Let's go into the Zinger next. Now, you guys told me before that you had never tried a Zinger.
Yeah, what
correct.
is a Zinger?
That's crazy.
It looks sort of like a pound cake, kind of.
Yeah, more or less. Zingers, but there are different flavored Zingers. There are also chocolate Zingers. Now, these things are heavy. Like, just to hold the package feels like you could get a good workout just lifting this thing.
This actually doesn't smell terrible.
Guess what? All 3 cakes are 1 serving. What is wrong with Hostess people?
With 53 grams of sugar.
Jeez.
Almost 400 calories.
310 milligrams of sodium.
400 calories. That's like when you get like a king size Snickers. That's like 400 calories, and they don't even say that that's 1 serving.
Hostess makes their own rules. So this is packaged in 3 separate, I don't know how these are maybe like 3 or 4 3 inches long here, pieces. And the bottom is a golden sponge cake, and the top is kind of a hard frosting.
Yeah, the frosting is a little harder than I expected it to be.
And this is vanilla, and then there's creamy filling. Does everything at Hostess have a filling? Is that the thing that they do? I feel like every ding-dongs and ho-hos and the cupcakes and this and the last one, they all have a filling.
That might be.
Yeah, I think we just figured it out, gents.
Ooh, these things are sugary.
I guess the only way to find out is we have to buy every single Hostess product and taste them all.
Right. Can't wait.
Took a bite and made this disgusted face. They're very sugary.
In what earth is that vanilla? That tastes so weird.
I smelled it, and I think a bunch of sugar went up my nose. It's
It tastes like you baked a cake and you put in 8 times the amount of sugar that you were supposed to.
I took one more bite to get to the cream.
It's difficult to eat. I love Hostess products, and this is difficult to eat.
It tastes vaguely of banana. Am I wrong?
You're saying that it's difficult, but I just finished my first one.
How? How are you eating this? You couldn't eat the marshmallow baseball, but you can eat this?
Yep.
The bottom I like. Here's the thing. The bottom is basically the Twinkie. Like if you just eat the bottom. That top frosting, man, I don't know.
I don't know if it's the frosting or the cake, but it's got a really horrible aftertaste. Maybe I'm just gonna try the bottom.
Yeah, the aftertaste is not great.
Okay, I think it is the. Ugh, I don't know now. I can't tell. It's all bad.
Also, you have frosting in your mustache, which is hilarious to look at.
It's the old flavor saver doing its job.
Man, I think I used to really like these. I don't know. I guess
you
I've
used to be
grown
a
up.
real asshole, Novak.
Oh man, my tongue hurts. I shouldn't have ate that whole thing.
Tongue hurts?
From like the sugar. It's like burning.
What?
You know, when you eat something that's like super sweet and your mouth just kind of like burns a little bit.
It's a lot. It's like in my sinuses now.
This has been a real ordeal for you guys. I don't like it, but I'm not having bodily problems.
This thing has infected my entire body.
Oh, wait. I think Novak accidentally gave you guys the jalapeno flavored Zingers. That may be why that's happening.
Whew.
Oh.
All right. Let's, Chad, why don't you start us off? Geiger's face. It is so...
I'm rarely this let down by food.
This guy will literally eat dirt. And you
I will eat the remains of someone else's cake, and this is terrible.
I was actually, like, I was all prepared to give this a like that. The first couple bites, I'm like, oh, this is really good. And then I plowed through the entire Zinger, like the whole 1/3 of a serving. And then now I'm seriously regretting that.
You're sweating. You look sweaty.
I am. I'm like, I'm
Your
sweating.
eyes all
It's like,
red.
You're squinting.
it's like, like my mouth, like, hurts. It's like uncomfortable.
My vision is blurred.
Maybe I like them better than you. I'm confused now.
I just want to go into the shower and just like rock back and forth and just like try to cleanse myself. So dislike that. But they're definitely better than the Snowballs.
I'll go next. I agree. I don't know if they're better than Snowballs. I really expected to. I was almost going to pre-rate like that for these because I'd had them before and it had been forever. And man, it was like a rude awakening there. It was really not good. And I'm getting some. I've two of my fingernails fell off, and it wasn't great. It's too sugary. I could get through it if I had. It's not like eating those olives where I want to throw up or anything. I'm just gonna have to go with a middle of the road dislike that. Geiger?
Wait, why is dislike middle of the road?
Yeah, that's not
Like a middle, not
Oh.
towards indifferent or towards hate. So a solid dislike.
Middle on the. Oh, I see.
not
Okay.
like a D
Middle
plus
on
or
the
D
negative
minus.
end of the spectrum.
Right.
Wow, this was horrible. I am a guy. I mean, I eat pencil shavings if I'm hungry enough. Like, this is real bad.
Oh shit! Are we gonna get our first Geiger hate dat?
Guys, I'm telling you what. It's got things I like cake and cream and frosting and stuff. But even if the first bite tasted good, that aftertaste that's in your mouth is so shitty afterward. It's like super sickly sweet, but like sort of like sour too. I don't know how to describe it. It is bad. I have never had a Zinger. I will never eat another one. This is utter fucking garbage. I hate that. It doesn't help that I've probably consumed 1,700 calories in the last 2 hours, but wow, that's bad. I'd sooner eat 2 more Snowballs than have another one of those.
Took us 11 episodes, but you did it.
Mark it down. You Tried Dat Nation. Update that Wikipedia page.
You have brought the hate out in me. That it was bad.
All right, so 2 dislikes and a hate. This is way down at the bottom of the barrel here. Not quite our lowest ever, but damn close. So, Chad, I think you're going to take us through a segment here.
Yeah, so wanted to return to the mailbag. It's mailbag time. Yeah. So here we are with You Asked Dat.
Yeah.
Intro for our mailbag segment.
Do. Postman's here. It's time for the mailbag. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, so
Perfect.
this is You Asked Dat. Question comes this week from Mike Enos out of Omaha, Nebraska. Mike writes, "Howdy, what's the most memorable meal you've ever had and why?" So that's the question. What do you guys think? Most memorable meal and why?
Well, sometimes having most memorable meal would be based on a circumstance instead of the food you're eating. So sometimes you remember what you had at, when you proposed to your wife or something like that. Not me, I totally forgot that, but a romantic person would potentially remember that.
Did you have a Zingers? Did you have a pack of Zingers when you got proposed?
And the ring was buried inside of the Zinger.
You had to eat 3/4 of it to get it out?
One of the only meals I like to tell a story about sometimes is Chad was there for it when we went to Seattle on our van trip when we were younger and rented a van, drove it across.
We bought a van.
bought
we
a
all
van,
chipped in together and bought a van like a bunch of idiots.
drove it to Vancouver, and then all the way down the coast and back from Chicago. But we did stop to eat on the Space Needle. And while I remember the food being good, I couldn't tell you exactly what I ordered. But I do recall the reason this was so memorable to me was they had a dessert where you could order an ice cream and they would bring it out with dry ice on the bottom and it would smoke up all around your table. So we decided that all 5 of us would order this ice cream simultaneously, and they brought it out and it created a giant smoke storm in the restaurant. So for whatever reason, that's the one that's sticking out to me right now. And I guess I think I really like the food there, but it could have been because I was like 20 years old and I never was getting a decent meal. So that kind of...
I remember specifically too on that trip we were all, it was in college, so we were all super broke. I remember we were like on a really small budget, especially for food. So most of the food we were eating was like Del Taco or like just stuff from a 7-Eleven or whatever. And then we were like, okay, we're going to have one nice meal. And so we had planned that it was going to be that one at the Space Needle. And so we were like, we had brought along some kind of nice clothes just to change into. And I remember we had been out around Seattle all day. And so we're like, oh, we need to change into these nice clothes. So we're in the parking lot of the Space Needle, like just changing into dress clothes, like in that parking garage. And then we got up there and we saw all those, like people would randomly order those dry ice things. And we were just like, it had to be that. But I don't remember the specific food. And I think if I went back and ate there now, it'd be like, all right, it's probably pretty good.
Right.
It's something about that time.
Something I do remember about the meal, and this just says a lot about my upbringing of eating Hostess, was that I remember the vegetables being really good because they were just basically fresh cut vegetables. And I had an entire life of my parents feeding me canned green beans and stuff. So
lettuce flavored Twinkies.
Geiger, what's a meal you remember?
My problem is especially now, I really love to eat. So we'll like sometimes an event or vacations and stuff are planned around eating. So like I think I've had a lot of really meals that stick out. Like when I went to San Francisco for a conference for work, we randomly stumbled on this place called, I think it was called The House. I don't know. I don't even know. Chad, you might be able to tell me if it's still around. I don't know.
Don't know.
But they had the best scallops I ever had. I went to New York. Chad, you came with us there. Went to that steakhouse. That was really good.
Yeah, that was great.
A lot of other steakhouses have been great. I guess in order to think of something that truly stands out, because I've had a lot of like food that I just was like really, really good. I do remember one meal that was really bad that all of you were present for at Chad's bachelor party when we went to Paul Bunyan's for breakfast, which
in Wisconsin Dells.
As a Wisconsin native, I warned you was horrible, and it was real bad. Cold, watery eggs. I don't even remember what else we ate. I just remember like the eggs being so bad I couldn't choke them down. But I guess if I had to think of the nicest, like most memorable meal on my honeymoon, we went to a place in Mexico. We went to Puerto Vallarta, but we went into town and they had this restaurant that was like on a river, and we sat right next to that, and they did the whole like flambe stuff at the table, and I had like a really nice steak. And I think Novak, like you were saying, due to like who I was with and like why we were there, made the meal probably feel better than the food actually was. But that's one I think about is like one of my favorite meals ever.
But sometimes you don't remember meals because you usually eat to the point of blacking out, right?
I usually have to be carted out. I'll wake up in the ambulance on the way and I'll go, "What happened?" And like, "You really enjoyed your meal." I'm like, "Thanks, man." I high five them. That sounds memorable.
So the one that jumps out of my mind as being sort of the most memorable thing, and again, I think it is like a combination of really good food, but also the situation, was I went to Japan for work. This was maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. I was at the Tokyo office for like a week and a half, but over the weekend I had nothing to do, so I decided to fly down to Okinawa and check out Okinawa for like the weekend. And so this was sort of before like Google Translate and stuff was like really useful. So, and I didn't really know very much Japanese, but I was out at the beach all day, and it was like a really sunny day, like middle of summer. And so I had put sunblock on, but there was like, I'm not very flexible, so there's like a big chunk of my back that like I can't reach, and I was by myself. And so I was like out snorkeling and stuff, but just that big spot on my back that I just couldn't really cover with a sunblock.
I can't wait to see how this relates to your meal.
So anyways, and when you get sunburn, like it kind of doesn't kick in till like sort of later that night.
Later that night, indeed.
I go back to town, and like I'm like, oh, I really want to find some place that serves katsudon, which is like fried pork with like eggs and stuff over rice. I was so proud of myself because I did like a bunch of like Google Maps search and was able to actually like decipher enough Japanese to find a place that sold it. But then as I was like heading over to the restaurant, I was just starting to feel like really woozy and things like that, and I just sort of, my back started to get really sore, and I realized I was super sunburned. So I sat down in the restaurant, and they kind of put me at this table by myself, and there was no English on the menu, so I then had to try to figure out enough of the menu in order to understand what I wanted to order. I got it, and I found it, and I ordered exactly what I wanted. It was absolutely delicious, but it took me like an hour and a half to eat it because I was just like, my energy was just so drained. And I remember like my back starting to like kind of itch, and I was like itching my back on the back of the seat, and like flakes of skin were just like coming down the back of my shirt, like onto because my skin was like already peeling. It was so badly burned. So that was just so memorable because I was like really proud of myself for like doing all that work to like find this meal that I really wanted, and it was so good. But then at the same time, I was just like, man, I'm a fucking idiot for just like burning my skin so badly.
All right, I got a clarifying question.
Yeah.
How did you know that flakes of your skin were falling off your back?
Because like they're like going down my back, and I just look, and there's like all these like little like skin flakes on the seat behind me.
So that was probably, all the other patrons found that to be the most memorable meal either. Because it's the first time they ate with a molting human,
Yeah.
watching you shed your skin in front of them.
So this American guy walked in, just moved, jittered around in his seat the entire fucking meal. There was skin shavings coming out the back of his shirt.
It was like a human butterfly just shaking his cocoon off. And then he complimented the chef. He was also so proud of himself that he spoke the language I already know. We're all Japanese.
Something had been going through my mind while listening to these stories.
Yeah.
And that's that I hate the Zingers.
Come with me, Novak.
I am. I actually looked over at them and I physically pushed them further away from me.
Had they gotten closer to you during the break?
I'm going to hate that. I'm doing it. The only other thing that I did that with where I didn't want to smell or look at it were those stupid olives. And so they have to go in that category.
The company that made those olives must be like, how are we in the same class as Zingers? This is a vegetable. It is good for you.
Those olives were haunting my dreams. They were really bad.
They were. Don't believe them, folks. They were good.
So what you're saying is that my dislike of the Zingers is the only thing keeping them from being the Welcome Nazi Award.
Wait, what? Are we welcome?
Isn't that what it's called?
No. What? The Nazis are not welcome anywhere.
No, the three hates was the flaming bag of dog poo.
Oh yeah, right.
Just that. Oh, speaking of which, everybody, we have a 5-point rating system.
Which we routinely forget to mention.
Love that, like that, indifferent to that, dislike that, and hate that.
We are the worst podcasters.
No one's joining now. Let's be
Before
frank.
we forget, Geiger, tell them about the social media.
So unless you're a Nazi, we would love to hear your feedback. And if you are a Nazi, come on, man, that's not cool. So we have a YouTube channel where you can, if you want to listen to this stuff on YouTube, you can find us anywhere you would normally download a podcast, like Stitcher or iTunes or whatever. And then we have a couple different ways to reach out to us. So if you want to tell us about a snack you want us to try, about your opinion about our ratings, anything we forgot, a fact, ask a question for the mailbag, anything, you can reach out at youtrydat@gmail.com, at youtrydat on Twitter, or You Tried Dat on Facebook. And we'd be glad to interact with you.
I want to know what people think we forgot.
Our brains.
One thing you forgot about Chad's molting skin story
is that he was also moaning loudly. I was sitting behind him.
One thing you forgot is that's also memorable for the owner of that restaurant who had to shut down after they found human skin lying all over the floor.
It was the same day that the restaurant guy was there. The inspector was there.
The inspector was sitting in the next table, forced them to shut down, and then that guy lost all his money and ended up committing suicide. So how do you feel about that, Chad?
Indifferent.
Okay, you have one Hostess product left that could save. There's one Twinkie to unite them all.
I'm excited about these.
Chocolate cake Twinkies. Oh wait, do your guys say peanut butter on them?
Yes.
Mine does not.
Wait, what?
For some reason, I have just a regular Twinkie. I thought I picked up 3. Hold up your package.
Did you buy 2 chocolates and 1 regular, and then, or 2 peanut butters and 1 regular?
Mine's a regular one, yeah. Well,
You want me to drive to your house and give you one of these?
no, I'm gonna rate this one.
Novak, you dumbass!
I'll spread some peanut butter on top.
Well, it does. I think that would be a like approximation because it says it's made with real peanut butter, which I don't believe.
You guys are gonna have to really describe the hell out of this thing for me.
Which one were you expecting? Were you expecting, like, did you try to buy the peanut butter?
I've never seen a plain chocolate Twinkie, and I saw one that said peanut butter on it, so I grabbed 3 of them. And apparently one of them was not peanut butter; it's just a standard cream. But I've never seen a regular chocolate Twinkie.
Okay, so you did mean to get a peanut butter one, yeah.
Yes, that is what.
Yeah, that's the part of this that makes it exciting. If it was just a regular chocolate Twinkie, I'd be like, oh, whatever. But the peanut butter gives us the potential to be good, I think.
So this is right up your alley, Chad. In theory, chocolate and peanut butter
Chocolate and
together.
peanut butter is the
Your
best
favorite
combination
combo.
on the planet, yeah.
The best combination since what? Sonny and Cher, would you say?
The best combination since Katsudon and Molting Skin.
Famous pairing. All right. To give you a description, Novak, it's a long chocolate Twinkie.
It looks
And-
exactly like my
Yes.
Twinkie.
And then the inside, I'm assuming, has peanut. Here, I'll break it open just so you
Look
can
at
see. Oh, look at that. All natural peanut butter. It looks like there's crystals in it. That is.
Oh yeah, that looks tasty.
Just splooged right
How's
in
it
there.
smell?
I don't smell any peanut butter.
Yeah, I just smell the chocolate. And now, is this the same chocolate cake that was in the middle of that snowball?
Sure.
Perhaps.
I don't think their host is going out of their way to make several recipes of chocolate cake.
Yeah, right.
All right, tell me about it.
Well, the peanut butter is very good. It's actually not as sugary as I thought it would be. Like if you compare it to like a Reese's cup or something, it's less sweet than that. But the chocolate cake is just really letting me down here.
Well, I'd say too, like if you look at the picture, and obviously pictures of food products are never what they turn out to be, but it looks like a very thin layer of cake, and the whole middle is like solid, creamy peanut butter. That's not the case. There's a little
What
bit
picture?
on the
Oh.
front of our package.
Okay,
There is.
no,
like,
Yeah,
an
there's not
extra
nearly
thing.
as much peanut butter as the picture would have you
The
believe.
ratio is really thrown off. I think if
Right.
there was more peanut butter in here, it actually would be pretty good. But this is mostly chocolate cake.
Yeah, they show a
Um,
cross section, and I think that's pretty common with Hostess products that they
But they're
don't
fucking
live up
liars.
to the cream promises.
If you can't believe the promises of a multinational billion-dollar corporation, who can you believe?
Well, they're saying they're good hostesses. A good hostess wouldn't just fucking lie to you about what you're eating for dinner.
These hostesses do not have the mostesses.
All right, I'll go.
What? It was funny the first time.
I'll go last because I'm gonna have to take your guys' ratings into account. So, Geiger, lead us off.
Sorry, I was trying to swallow. This is fine. I don't.
You swallowed this thing? That wasn't what we're doing.
There
You
was
chew
a
and
warning.
spit.
Now that you say that, on the back there's a warning that says, "Under no circumstances consume this product." This is good. I think it's not helped that we just ate 2 other Hostess products. It's just like a little fatigue setting in. But if I'm judging it on its own merits, like I said, I wish there was more peanut butter. Cake is definitely the worst part of the combination, but it's not as bad. I don't find it bad. If I weren't eating on a full stomach already, I would probably have no problem eating one whole one of these, which is, I guess, not saying a whole lot because I'm a human garbage disposal. But
You've liked stuff for less comments than that.
don't worry, it's getting a like that. I like it. I don't love that. I'm close to it's. If you like you said before, solid dislike. I'm saying a soft like that. Like it's closer to indifferent than it is to. It's like a B minus, but
Okay.
it's not bad.
All right, Chad.
These things are damn lucky that they have peanut butter. And they're also very lucky that I love peanut butter as much as I do. The cake is bad. The cake is just bad. But the peanut butter is pretty good peanut butter, and for me, that's enough to do it. put peanut butter on anything and I'm probably going to be on board. So these are going to get, just like Geiger, a very, very mild like that. I think if I was eating the package that you had, Novak, with just regular cream, these would probably get a dislike that from me. But the peanut butter is enough to sort of bump it up to just above indifferent into like that range.
So you would eat almost anything with peanut butter on it then?
Not those olives, that's for sure. But,
what if I put peanut butter on my balls? Would you come over and would that be a like that or an indifferent to that?
Speaking of balls, I don't think peanut butter would save the snowballs. The coconut is worse on there, but
peanut butter and coconut would not be.
No. Also not what I asked. No, okay. That's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna have
both
to use
things are neon green.
and they are both the equivalent size.
I'm going to have to use a complicated algorithm to do a rating here.
You have no one to blame but yourself.
Exactly. These things are okay. I imagine with peanut butter they would improve. And
so, hold on. Is it white cream inside yours then?
It's just white cream, right. The white cream ones alone would be, I feel it indifferent. The white cream with sponge is a love. I love the regular Twinkie and I love the cupcake. I feel bad about this whole Hostess episode because these things are terrible. And I think it's just because I've been eating those things so regularly that I like them.
Is the regular Twinkie basically like the cake from the Zinger?
But it doesn't smell like banana-y or I don't know. I mean, I gave those Zingers a hate that, and I love the Twinkies, so it must be different.
Okay. I thought maybe without the frosting or something.
I think I think it's a lot spongier. So, based on all those factors, I'm going to give it a like that. Because this is good enough. I feel like with the peanut butter, it would push it up, and it's close enough to that without. So, ding dong. So welcome visitor at the door. Peanut butter.
Welcome on in.
I think you're going to need to go out and buy some of these peanut butter ones like on your own and then report back in a future episode if your rating is different or not.
Tell you what, I'll just save you.
We'll just stick with the like that.
But the integrity of the podcast.
I'll go buy some damn peanut butter Twinkies, okay?
How did Twinkies fare overall then today? What was the final?
How did Twinkies fare?
I'm sorry, Hostess.
Well, pretty shitty because we hated 2/3 of them.
We gave a lot of hates today.
So, I mean, are they going to be okay, you think? Surviving this onslaught?
This is going to hurt. They actually stopped production of all their Hostess products a few years ago and then restarted them again, I think, in 2016. But for 2 or 3 years, you could not find a Hostess product anymore.
And weren't they talking about like people were selling boxes of unopened Twinkies online for like a bunch of money because people thought it was the last chance they could have them or something like that?
Yes, I was buying them, actually.
Are these those? Is this dipping into your stash right here? What we just ate?
Now they're readily available, so I have to get rid of them.
They say stuff on the package like "Get ready for the XFL." You're like, huh?
Strangely relevant again.
Yeah. Turns out.
So the peanut butter Twinkie is, my rating aside, still the clear winner today against a couple of big losers. But Geiger, you like 2/3 of this, so
yeah,
you really can't be bad mouthing Hostess all that much.
No, I'm not. I think they need how to learn how to make cake if all their things are gonna be cake based. But also, how are you gonna make a good cake that's gonna last for a decade? You can't. You got to pick one: longevity or taste. And they clearly went in the way of longevity. So, having said that, the snowballs were pretty good.
I'll send you the top of mine that I peeled off.
Yes, please. I want the skin of your ding dong. That sounded worse than I meant. The skin of your snowball.
Okay, now give it to me straight here. Was that an accident or are you a dumbass?
But, no, I really screwed up
my ding dong.
You said ding dong before, and I was thinking about ding dongs because I like ding dong. Wait, which one's the ding dong?
Let it be known Geiger likes ding dongs.
Is that the chocolate covered roll up one? Or is
Yeah.
that a ho?
No, that's the ho ho. The ding dong is like a hockey puck.
Okay, I like ho hos. I like dim hos. I probably like a ding dong, but I can't remember eating one.
All these sexual Hostess names.
Remember the old Hostess cock and balls that we had last episode? They had the
Kind of, you could do that if you put the Twinkie next to the snowballs.
lemon lime taint that they sold that one time.
Sure, high schoolers all over the world have done that Twinkie snowball thing.
We are the first people to make those jokes. We are innovators, Chad.
Okay, how about final thoughts on the Hostess episode here?
I'm going to go right now and sell all my Hostess stock because it's going to plummet after this episode comes out and everybody finds out like what trash this company's snacks really are. Because nobody knew, until we came along.
Right.
No,
I mean, it's sort of what I expected, except for that Zinger. That Zinger was bad. I was surprised how much I disliked it. I wasn't ever expecting to hate anything on this podcast, to be quite frank. I mean, I think I still want to hold out hope. I think at some point I do want to do those chocolate cupcakes because that will be the only thing that really crushes me if I end up eating those and think because it's got to be the same chocolate cake as we've eaten already, and that was bad. So I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't taint my memory of them going forward. But how about you, Novak? Does it crush your childhood?
It is very disappointing. Actually, you see all these challenges of people eating the hot wings and cinnamon challenge and stuff like that, and I think the 3 Zinger challenge would be very impressive to me if somebody could quickly put back those 3 Zingers like in 30 seconds or something like that.
There's got to be people that love them, right? They've been around forever. They wouldn't make them for no reason.
I guess. I mean, it's not. Have you ever seen people eating these things?
Oh man! Every time I head down the lunchroom, people are just having Zinger parties. They're just cracking open them zings. No, I've never seen another human eat a Zinger.
All right then. Well, that's a good note to end on. Next episode, we have our Mexican-themed You Tried. We need to figure out how to say You Tried Dat in Spanish.
We know what you is, right? What is it? No, we don't. I never took Spanish, so I assumed you guys had known that. All right. We will edit this out.
This will be a compelling podcast while we all bust out our Google Translate.
This is awful.
So you have more of this to look forward to.
All right, welcome to the Awkward Transition Podcast.
Spanish words. So, all right, we'll see you next time. 3 new snacks.
Deuces.
Yep.